Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Poorly Animated Arsenal podcast. I'm Jacob. I'm your host. I'm also Poorly Drawn Arsenal, which is probably important information. And with me, as always, is Hunter. Say hi, Hunter.
Hi, Hunter.
Fantastic. Hunter, how are you?
Better than last week.
Yeah,
I
you had
don't think
COVID
I have
last week.
COVID anymore.
Oh, fantastic. I do.
Oh,
Yeah,
right. I forgot.
Yeah. I have COVID now. It was passed through the interwebs of our last conversation. So yeah, I mean, but I'm feeling good. I think I'm over the worst of it.
Well,
So
that's good.
it's been 5 days, so I think I'm at the end of it, hopefully. But yeah,
Hopefully.
anyway, um, we're recording this right after Arsenal 3, Burnley 1. Overall thoughts on the match, big picture thoughts, as fancy people would say.
Nice to win.
Nice to win. Yeah, that's my take too. How were you feeling going into the match?
I woke up at 9:30. The match was at 10.
Yeah.
I was sleepy for a minute. I looked at the lineup. I was like, wow, we're hurt.
Yeah.
And then I saw everybody laughing at Tottenham, and I was like, that is funny. And by the time I got through all of that, the match started.
Yeah. Have you
I
had
was
breakfast yet?
No. I
Oh,
didn't have
okay.
coffee either.
Oh, so
was
you
very-
went into this
I was
very
dehydrated when I woke up. So I had
okay.
I had water, and this is not a product placement, but I had a body armor as well.
I'm sorry. Aren't those clothes?
Yeah, I put on a bulletproof vest.
Okay. Isn't that what the body, or is it Under Armour?
So
Am I
Under
confused?
Armour is clothes.
Oh, okay. What's body armor?
Body armor is like Gatorade if it had coconut water in it.
Okay. So it's not clothes.
It's not clothes.
It's not clothes.
I didn't drink clothes.
Okay.
I was a
That's
little
where my
disoriented because I
mind
was sleepy.
Yeah.
I didn't drink clothes.
Okay. All right. I'm glad that I cleared that up for just me. I'm sure no one else was confused by that. So, all right. So you went into it a little dehydrated, sleepy, all that.
Sure.
I went into it riding high. I was playing Football Manager, and I'm controlling a team in Japan right now in the 3rd tier, and we were slated to finish 18th, bottom of the league, and right now we're 2nd. So I had the utmost confidence, blind confidence,
going into get you out there.
Yeah. Let me, Adam. Let me invert everything. Overload the right hand side.
Get you on Arteta's staff.
Yeah. I'll be like, look what I did on the computer, Mr. Arteta. And then he would pat me on the top of the head and just go, very nice. Yeah, so that's how I went into it. And then, what is the big thing that happened first?
There were like some chances.
I think the first thing that I really remember was the kind of half chance that Saka turned into a full chance, where he kind of popped up around the defender, shot it to the top right corner.
Oh yeah, that was a good save from
a very good save.
Old Trafford.
And I thought that was a very good chance out of nothing created by Saka.
Young Trafford? How can I make fun of their goalie? It was a great chance. It was a really nice shot.
Did you say Young Trafford?
I said Young Trafford, yeah.
That's pretty good.
Well, because I called him Old Trafford first, but I'm like, he's a child.
Yeah.
Young Trafford. It's like Young Sheldon, but for a man who has a stadium.
And Young Sheldon wasn't. I imagine it's not a very good show, and their keeper wasn't very amazing outside of that one save. So
There we go. We got him.
we burned him.
We got him.
Yeah, he will not recover from this animated podcast.
I mean, he'll never ever hear it for
Yeah,
any reason.
but
But
if
if
he
he
did,
did,
oh god, he'd retire on the spot. Uh, and then let's see. Wasn't there a lot going on in the first half? Oh, you know what really annoyed me in the first half now that I think about it?
Mhm.
The camera angle.
Oh, we were talking about the camera.
Yeah, that's what I really didn't like. For those that weren't watching the game, or maybe they had a normal camera operator wherever you were. Uh, for our feed, there was, FIFA, or not FIFA, can't call it FIFA anymore. Well, I can call it FIFA. I wouldn't get in trouble for it, but someone else might. EAFC 24. Uh, that camera angle. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think generally you don't stick the year. Like the genericized would just be EAFC. But I like
Okay.
that you put the year on it because we're being accurate on this podcast.
Someone could be listening to this in 10 years from now and be like, which EAFC are they talking about?
Yeah, I like to think that this will stand the test of time.
Yeah. Yeah. And
This
someone
is
will be
our
like,
legacy.
I need to listen to that podcast from that 3-1 game in 2023 against Burnley of all teams. Anyway, EAFC, they have that weird kind of camera angle that kind of turns but also kind of moves with the action. That's what was happening in this match for the entirety of the match.
It was a wide shot from the sideline,
Yeah.
but it also kind of roved. I wasn't sure if it was on a wire. You suspect it's a drone.
I did suspect a drone, but I feel like that is a drone that would have to be in the air for a long time, and that the battery on that thing, impressive battery if it is a drone. I imagine it's more feasible to be a wire.
Also, the camera kind of fell off its position for a second. It got tilted, and that was interesting watching the game at a canted angle for 30 seconds.
Which for those statisticians out there, I bet that really skews the field tilt.
Oh,
All right.
we're on fire.
Two people will get that joke, and they will probably groan instead of laugh. um, yeah. So because of that camera angle, first off, I found it kind of nauseating. I didn't really enjoy the camera angle so much because you kind of got the sense that you were like in a blimp that
You
was
hate being
moving.
in a blimp.
I've never been in a blimp, but I can confidently say that I would hate it. Thousands of feet in the air. Well, I don't know if you're thousands of feet in there. You're very high in the air.
Have you been in a hot air balloon?
No, I would hate that too.
I feel like that's worse.
The idea of being in something where the majority of the mode of transportation is to make the transportation move scares me. Does that make sense? You look at a hot air balloon, right? From the basket to the top of the balloon. 70% of that thing, at least, probably 80% of it, is just to
Oh,
get it
yeah.
moving.
Okay, so I get what you're saying.
You look at a bus, 80% of that is the passengers,
Yeah,
not
you want most of it. You want a compact engine.
I want to be tricked into feeling like I'm in control
Okay.
and that if the engine were to go, there's more people than engine, somebody will figure it out.
So if a car had like a huge engine,
Not getting in it.
you wouldn't like it at all.
No, and I think that's probably pretty accurate for me. I would not get in that. Yeah. So, and thus, seeing the camera angle of something that is 70% transportation, 30% moving people, I think I didn't like the camera angle. This is I have cracked the nut on this,
I mean, you've articulated your position extremely clearly.
which is impressive for me if
And
you've
no,
listened to any of the other podcasts.
at the very least, you've explained yourself.
Every week I come with a really opinionated
You're a bit of a
position.
hot take artist.
a little bit, a wild card, if you will.
I have I've started to develop a hot take,
Arsenal related hot take, or
an
just in
Arsenal
general?
related hot
Oh,
take,
okay.
and I
What is
feel
it?
like you're not gonna like it.
So, like, you hate Saka?
It's not that hot.
Because I would hate that. Yeah,
I mean, that would be a hot take.
yeah, really hot take.
You know the best player on our team, the guy who came
Hate
through the
that guy.
academy. I hate that guy.
All right. So, what's your not like
I'm starting to get.
spicy take, but your reduced spicy take?
I'm starting to get a whiff of Ben Simmons on Kai Havertz.
Hmm.
This is a
Yeah.
comparison that is congealing in my mind. It's not a perfect 1-to-1.
No, I first off don't hate it. And I think that there are some parallels.
Yeah.
For an
So
example, Ben Simmons, and you might be getting into this, but like Ben Simmons, I'm a Sixers fan, so I'm going to use the term we. We always wanted him to develop that 3 shot. Never did. And I think that we were asking him to be something that he wasn't. And in some ways, we might be asking Havertz to do something that he's not.
where I'm at with this, if you're not super familiar with basketball,
There's a
Ben's
ball and 2 baskets.
okay, and the goal is to put the ball
in the basket.
your basket
The team
and
that
keep it
gets
out.
the most baskets.
You have to dribble the basketball. It's an orange ball.
Okay. If you're not familiar with basket, they're caught up now. If you're not, but if you, more expert
We got
level.
the important part. There's baskets. The ball's orange. So Ben Simmons is an excellent athlete. He's 6'10". He can do everything on the basketball court. He's an excellent defender. And I think Kai Havertz has been playing pretty good defensively since he's gotten here. But in basketball, you want to be able to score the ball as well.
Yeah, and I would also say he's very good at passing.
He's good
I
at
think Ben
passing. Kai
Simmons is a
Havertz
good
passing
passer.
has been pretty good. But Ben Simmons, a couple years ago, developed a complete allergy to attempting to score points.
Yeah, and to go further into that, he was very good at like driving to the basket. And he was also very good at but people wanted him to be able to shoot a jump shot from literally anywhere, which I think ended up resulting in him getting in his head about it and then getting bad at even driving to the basket. Talking about that Atlanta playoff series where he was right under the basket and all he had to do was dunk the ball, and instead he ran away from the hoop. But you would argue that similarly,
It just feels like he's not taking shots that he should be taking. Part of the role that he's in requires him to be a little aggressive in shooting the ball. Like there was Rice got the ball back on a high press. We were like 3-on-1 or 3-on-2. Kai Havertz was driving with the ball. He had a window to shoot. Instead, he passed it off to Trossard for a worse shot than one if he had just taken the shot. There's times where he gets the ball in the box, he's laying it off instead of taking shots. Basically, the only things he's putting on goal are headers, and he's just not there with his headers right now either.
and he's not even really putting those on goal.
He's
Yeah,
putting them next to goal.
next to goal. He just got to move 3 feet over, and then he'll be fine. I think it's a fair comparison. I definitely think that there is some kind of mental block going on in the way that I think what Ben Simmons did, where he just became averse to doing. He didn't want to do the wrong thing so badly
Right.
that he didn't do the thing that he was good at well. And my fear is that Kai Havertz is headed in that direction.
That's kind of where the comparison started to draw today. I don't think he's too far down the Ben Simmons road to, come back from it, but he does need confidence,
Yeah,
right?
no, he's not burning bridges yet.
He's not forcing a trade.
He's not forcing a trade, refusing to play.
What if James Harden played soccer?
If James Harden played soccer,
What is the step back three? Is it just like shots from outside? You dribble outside the box and then shoot?
He's a box to box midfielder. I think box to box midfielder probably would best describe James Harden.
Okay. We've gotten too far outside of this. It's basically just a confidence thing.
This is more of a basketball podcast than it is a.
I think, Kai Havertz is having a confidence issue right now. And the problem with confidence issues is you kind of need to get through it by just shooting when you don't want to.
Yeah, and he's not really doing that. Kind of like half shooting almost. There was like one chance I remember where he just kind of shot it, but it was blocked. It's almost like he's reluctantly shooting when he does.
We need to get somebody in there to really just pump him up.
My theory is you need to take the ball, you need to tie it to Kai Havertz. You need to pick him up, put him in the net. So that way he gets the sense that he can put the ball in the net. And then he'll be cured after that.
Okay, this is interesting. How are we going to get the ball tied to him? Like, do you mean during a game?
Or I think
this
you
is
start in
practice?
training. You start in training. And if it's not translating to game time, then you got to figure it out from there. I think Zinchenko obviously showed that he can do a lot of things. I think he would be the one to take off his laces and just tie the ball around him.
It's laces. Interesting. I mean, that's
the
probably
only
the best
thing
way
that's
to do it.
Yeah, it's the only thing that's there that you could tie something with. And you just pick him up, toss them in the net. Would that? And I don't think that would qualify as offsides or anything, because he would just make sure that the ball is ahead of him.
It feels like that should be against the rules. But, okay, even if he didn't tie it, let's say he just puts it between his knees, right?
Yeah.
And then you get the whole team to pick him up and hurl him. Is that against the rules? If no one's touching the ball with their hands, is there a rule against throwing your own teammate? You can't throw the other team.
So I'm looking into this. As someone pointed out recently, I forget who it was, somebody on Discord said that the thing that they love most about this podcast is, here we go, from the Laughing Gooner. I love how the most fact-checked anything in this podcast has ever been is Ricky Martin songs. Which is true. We don't really fact check anything, which is why I'm going to fact check now to see if you can toss your own player into the. Can you toss your own player?
Can you throw your teammates?
Can you throw your teammate in?
Or could you do? How familiar are you with rugby?
I understand the concept of some things,
Do you know what a line out is? Okay, it's like when the ball is out of bounds. Have you watched a rugby game?
Yes.
Okay. I played a little bit.
Are you talking about when you lift up the...
It's when you lift the man up by his shorts.
Yeah. I don't know the terminology for that, but yeah.
Do you think you could do that on a corner and just kick the ball up real high, and then you do a line out to get a very tall header?
Okay, well, I found almost the exact question online to that
Oh, yes.
on Quora. So
Okay, the questions website.
the questions website, the successor to Yahoo Answers. So you know that this is very fact checked and extremely accurate. What if a player carries his teammate on his shoulders and uh okay, yeah. What if a player carries his teammate on his shoulders on a corner kick or throw in and the carried player takes it into the net? Is there any rules against that? There is an implicit rule to this. Law 5.2 of football's laws of the game. I'm not going to check that. I'm just going to trust this Brad Hears online. States decisions will be made to the best of the referee's ability according to the laws of the game and the spirit of the game, and will be based on the opinion of the referee, who has the discretion to take appropriate action with a framework. Okay, so this is just basically it's up to the referee.
Hmm. This is their way to get
But
around the Airbud rule, I think.
yeah, and I think this is probably what, if it were to be called, this is probably what they would call it on. Law 12.2 states that an indirect free kick is awarded if a player plays in a dangerous manner.
Hmm.
I think that if you were to tie a ball to Kai,
Yeah, if
sorry,
you're
it just hit me what we were saying. If you tie a ball to Kai Havertz, I think they would call it back as a dangerous play.
well, no. I think if you're throwing him at the net, that's a dangerous play.
The act of tying wouldn't be. So you would have to just carry him to the net, politely put him down on the ground, tap him on the head, and say good boy, and then that's okay.
Well, I guess maybe tying the ball is dangerous in that to get the ball back, you gotta really get at him.
Yeah. I I'm gonna say that this is not allowed.
Yeah. We haven't innovated a new solution, unfortunately.
No, Kai Havertz is just gonna have to start shooting. Then there were a bunch of goals. Trossard ran into a pole,
Yeah.
but he seemed fine, which is good.
He had what I would call a big ouchie on his arm.
That really got me. I wasn't expecting it to get me, but it really, yeah, he had a big ouchie. And luckily it was at halftime, so the entire team was able to give him little kisses on his ouchie so he
Yeah.
could come back out there.
He received medical kisses to his boo boo.
And now, now he was all good to come back in the second half, and he played well. Burnley scored. I don't really care about that because immediately after Saliba scored, uh, which was nice. I like when Arsenal scores, especially when they score immediately after giving up a goal.
Yeah, that was a beautiful corner kick.
Yeah, with Trossard on the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so his ouchies were
Yeah.
sufficiently
He,
fixed beautifully.
he was pronounced all better.
Yes, and given a lollipop, but he wasn't allowed to take it onto the field, so you can have it after the game, but which is what he's doing right now. And then, honestly, probably the highlight of the match for me was Zinchenko just going full Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful goal.
It was funny to me. I laughed and I laughed.
Yeah, it was a beautiful goal, but really comically looking at the same
Well,
time.
it's the kind of goal where you can imagine the player saying "Hiya" when he kicks the ball.
Yes. Yeah. He definitely, and of all players to say that out loud, it is definitely Zinchenko. But it was a beautiful. It immediately. So I obviously watch the matches, which you could argue if you listen to this that I don't, but I do. Um, and I look for moments to draw. Going up to that, it was going to be Zinchenko or not Zinchenko. It was going to be Trossard with like birds flying around his head, and that was the leading candidate. And I was getting ready to draw that, and then Zinchenko did his little Karate Kid maneuver, and I dropped everything. And by that, I mean I picked up my iPad. So I did the opposite of dropping everything. I picked up my iPad and immediately started drawing that because it immediately became that's the thing to draw from this match. And then I paid no attention to the rest of it because I was drawing.
Because you were busy drawing.
Yeah, but Vieira got a red card.
Yes.
Was it worth it? I mean, that's not the question I meant to ask.
Interesting. I haven't
okay,
performed the cost benefit yet.
Last week we did talk about how Kai Havertz's yellow card was kind of worth it because everybody else had yellow cards afterward. It was not the question I intended to ask. What I meant to ask was it a red card because I wasn't watching?
Yeah, I don't think he meant to do it, but it was a high foot and his studs caught the defender, or the Burnley player.
And as we know from Cora,
it's dangerous.
It's dangerous play, and you can't. It's 12.2, so that's a violation of 12.2. It's a red card.
And now people can't tell us that we don't know anything.
Yeah, we
know at least one of the laws and the number that it is.
Yeah, and I mean, we weren't looking it up for that reason. We were looking up to see if we could carry Kai Havertz and put him in the net and get him on his goal-scoring streak. But tangentially, or now we know that Vieira violated 12.2. Yeah, and then it was just pretty much just not letting Burnley score from there, and we didn't. So, and there was blood.
There was blood? I don't remember the blood.
Kiwior hit somebody in the head.
Oh, no.
Georgie.
Oh. Poor Jorginho. I saw him leave.
Yeah, well, I guess he had blood.
And don't we all?
If I search, I don't know if I want to fact check this. If I search blood Jorginho, is that a weird thing to search?
Yes.
This is draws first blood in a match.
Okay.
For Chelsea, but
what are you hoping to return from the search blood Jorginho?
I just want to see if he actually bled. There's no pictures, and you know what? I'm happy for him that there's no pictures of this. So, all right. Well, that's irrelevant. I don't need to fact check that. I don't know. That's not an important aspect of the game. Yeah. So overall feelings, I'm feeling good. I like Arsenal wins.
Me too.
And we have off now. Because we had something to do with it.
Yeah. You and I get a break. We don't do the podcast on the international break, so we get time off.
Which is really just like a celebration for other people. We come back on the 25th against Brentford.
Jinx.
And that's not the right music.
Oh.
But we'll go with it. This has been the Poorly Animated Arsenal podcast. I'm Jacob. I'm your host. I'm also Poorly Drawn Arsenal. I still haven't quite figured out how to say that seamlessly. And with me, as always, is
Hunter.
A walrus. Fantastic. Hey, if you like learning about the rules of the game, like 12.2, or if you're like, hey, can you lift a player in the air and just toss him across the goal line? And would that count as a goal if the ball was attached to him with Zinchenko's laces? That means you probably like this podcast, which means you should give it a like. Or, give it stars, preferably more than one on the podcast catcher, reader, aggregator of your choice. I'm not getting any better at that. All right. Well, thank you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.